to connect a region of over 600 mil bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Maricar Velasco delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines, President Rodrigo Duterte will not interfere in the Presidential Electoral Tribunal decision on the poll protest filed by former Senator Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos against Vice President Leonor Leni Robredo, Malacanang said on Tuesday. Malaysian authorities have imposed fines of around $100 million on 80 entities, intensifying their pursuit of people allegedly linked to the massive 1MDB corruption scandal, the anti-graft chief said. The Philippines' power and tourism sectors are among those that will benefit from the trip of President Rodrigo Duterte in Russia last October 1 to 5. President Rodrigo Duterte will not interfere in the Presidential Electoral Tribunal decision on the poll protest filed by former Senator Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos against Vice President Leonor Leni Robredo, Malacanang said on Tuesday. The Supreme Court sitting as PED has reset the voting on the election protest after it did not take any action on the case during Tuesday's tribunal session. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said the president will not intrude into the competence and the authority of the PED. He said Duterte will enforce the law and respect whatever decision the PED arrives at.
We will leave it to the tribunal to decide on its own whatever pending cases it has. You know, the president is always on the side of the law. Whatever the law says, he should enforce it.
In 2016, Marcos filed a poll protest to contest Robredo's vice presidential win. Robredo won by only a little over 260,000 votes. President Rodrigo Duterte wants the next Philippine National Police Chief to be honest, competent, and free from irregularities amid reports of cops recycling illegal drugs, Malacanang said on Tuesday. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said Duterte is selecting from 4 candidates but will keep it to himself for the meantime.
He will decide on the basis of competence and honesty. Pag you're honest, ibig sabihin wala kang kaso relative to any irregularity. Pag competent ka, ibig sabihin magaling ka sa trabaho mo.
Asked if Duterte would consider appointing someone he does not personally know, Panelo said it would depend on the president. Duterte earlier said he would be more careful in selecting the next PNP to avoid stumbling again. Panelo said he did not know if Duterte was referring to PNP Chief General Oscar Albayalde, who is accused of involvement in the illegal drug trade, but said he would ask the president to clarify what he meant.
Mahirap mag-interpret sa sinabi niya dahil hindi naman.
Pero sir, meeting na sir.
Hindi, kasi hindi masyadong klaro kung kanino niya nire-refer or whatever.
Albayalde earlier said since an investigation is ongoing, the public should move on from the issue. However, Panelo said the palace could not simply move on since the results of the investigation have yet to be released.
As far as Malacanang is concerned, there is an ongoing investigation as instructed by the President.
Magandang tanghali, MPC. Kasama na po natin.
Meanwhile, Panelo said the irregularities pounding the PNP should not affect the president's campaign against illegal drugs.
The fact is, the President has dismantled many drug apparatus in this country and jailed many police scalawags involved in the drug operation. and arrested many people involved in pushing the illegal drugs. And many have surrendered. Many have been rehabilitated.
Malaysian authorities have imposed fines of around $100 million on 80 entities, intensifying their pursuit of people allegedly linked to the massive 1MDB corruption scandal, the anti-graft chief said Monday. The fines are linked to a wide-ranging probe into billions of dollars that were looted from State Investment Fund 1MDB between 2009 and 2014 and spent on everything from yachts to expensive artwork in a fraud allegedly involving the former Prime Minister. Claims that Najib Razak and his cronies pilfered massive sums from 1MDB contributed to the defeat of his long-ruling coalition in the election last year. Latifa Koya, chief of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, said the agency hoped to recover roughly 420 million ringgit or $100 million from 80 individuals, companies and political parties, including Nazir Razak, the former premier's younger brother. Nazir was the chairman of CIMB Group Holdings, Malaysia's second largest bank and Southeast Asia's fifth largest lender. He quit the bank in December 2018. The people and entities targeted are accused of receiving money pilfered from 1MDB via an account linked to Najib, Latifa told reporters. Former PM Najib was arrested last year after he lost power and hit with dozens of charges related to the 1MDB scandal. He is currently facing 2 trials. Latifa said those targeted in the expanded probe have 2 weeks to pay the fines or face possible prosecution. The U.S. Department of Justice, which is seizing assets in America allegedly bought with looted 1MDB money, believes that $4.5 billion was stolen from the fund. Pilots from Texas-based Southwest Airlines said Monday they had filed a lawsuit against Boeing, accusing it of deliberately misleading them over the 737 MAX, which has been grounded after 2 deadly crashes. Nearly 350 people died in crashes in Indonesia in October 2018 and in Ethiopia in March this year. Captain Jonathan Weeks, president of the Southwest Airlines Pilots Association, said they have to be able to trust Boeing to truthfully disclose the information they need to safely operate their aircraft. The grounding of the 737 MAX since March eliminated more than 30,000 scheduled Southwest flights and caused over $100 million in lost wages for pilots, according to SWAPA. Southwest is the largest operator of the 737 MAX, and the aircraft may not return to passenger service until 2020. The lawsuit, which was filed in Dallas, Texas, said Boeing had falsely claimed the plane was airworthy. In both crashes, pilots had difficulty controlling the plane once the MCA's anti-stall handling system was activated, according to preliminary investigations.
When visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. The Philippines' power and tourism sectors are among those that will benefit from the trip of President Rodrigo Duterte in Russia last October 1 to 5. Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III told journalists Tuesday that potential investments from the recent foreign trip of the chief executive is quite significant, although he declined to indicate figures. Dominguez said possible investments in the power sector include those for power distribution and generation, as well as for renewable energy. Possible power sector investments are a plus for the Philippines, especially after the president, in his fourth State of the Nation address last July, pushed for the fast-tracking of RE resources in a bid to lessen the country's dependence on traditional sources like coal. The Department of Energy targets to increase the share of RE on total power source to about 35% by 2030. This, as the Renewable Energy Act of 2008 provides for the harmonization of policies for development of technologies that would benefit wind, hydropower, solar, ocean, and biomass energy. The AICHR convened the regional consultation on commonalities of environmental impact assessment in ASEAN member states and advancing a harmonized and right-based approach on the 2nd to the 3rd of October in Yangon, Myanmar. This consultation was a continuation of previous efforts by AICHR Myanmar, which were initiated in 2014, 2015, and 2017 on human rights, environment, and climate change. During the two-day consultation, the participants discussed existing legal framework for the environment and EIA in ASEAN member states and identified areas of commonalities. They also discussed ways forward for a harmonized and right-based regional framework, which includes identification of stakeholders, possible content for the regional framework, and time frame, among others. In the opening session, the representative of Myanmar, Ambassador Liam Myint, stated that human rights promotion and environmental sustainability are closely intertwined and believed to be at the core of sustainable development. Through a rights-based framework for EIA, the environment can be protected, sustained, and sustainable development can be achieved. In his keynote speech video, Dr. David R. Boyd, the UN Special Reporter on Human Rights and the Environment, highlighted that EIA is a valuable tool for allowing economic development to proceed while ensuring the protection of environment to be realized. To make it a genuinely effective tool to protect environment and human rights, the EIA processes should include access to information, public participation, and access to justice and effective remedy. The consultation was co-organized by AICHR Myanmar, AICHR Thailand, and the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Conservation of Myanmar in collaboration with the United Nations Environment Program. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN ministers, reiterated the need for enhanced cross-sectoral coordination and the adoption of a holistic approach in their collective efforts in disaster management at the annual meetings held in Myanmar this week. Secretary General of ASEAN Dato Lim Jook Hoi said ASEAN has collectively achieved many milestones, yet much remains to be done to strengthen the resilience. He He added ASEAN strives to foster a culture of resilience and care for the environment to prevent disaster risks. ASEAN countries are located in one of the most disaster-prone regions in the world, frequented by earthquakes, floods, landslides, and typhoons, as well as human-induced disasters. The wide geographic stretch of incidences and increasing frequency of disasters require ASEAN to enhance the readiness and emergency response capacity. The 7th ASEAN Ministerial Meeting on Disaster Management and the 8th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to ASEAN Agreement on Disaster Management and Emergency Response constitutes the last segments of the 4-day meeting held on the 1st to the 4th of October. The series of meetings were preceded by commemoration of the ASEAN Day for Disaster Management, which was opened by the Vice President of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar, Henry Van Thieu. The meetings discussed priorities for the subsequent work program for AADMER as the current program will conclude in 2020. The meetings also review the deliverables of ASEAN Coordinating Center for Humanitarian Assistance on Disaster Management and exchange views in advancing disaster risk reduction and management in the region. Digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Open for Business, from vision to action.
Net25 shows live and on demand anytime, anywhere, on any mobile device on OSN Play.
With gorgeous white sandy beaches that stay cool to touch even on the hottest summer days, blue-green ocean waves, and the warm ocean breeze, there's no wonder why Dr. Beach has named Siesta Key, Florida, the #1 beach in the United States. Don't forget to watch episodes of Digital Nest every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. I'm Melissa Protest, coming to you from Siesta Key, Florida, and I am one with 25.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Welcome back. Mindanao rice farmers would be testing a new export deal sealed by the Philippines with Papua New Guinea earlier this month, with an initial shipment of 5,000 metric tons of premium and organic rice. The initial shipment would be out as soon after export documents are completed, the Mindanao Development Authority, or MINDA, said. The shipment to PNG's capital city of Port Moresby would consist of the best quality rice produced in Mindanao, including RC 160 7-toner, banay-banay, dinorado, and organic rice, according to Minda. The shipment was the initial commitment from the Philippine side after both parties signed a memorandum of understanding between the rice farmers groups of Mindanao, represented by the Minda chairman, Secretary Manny Piñol, and PNG's Central Province Governor Robert Agarobe. The agreement was signed early this month in Port Moresby. PNG Prime Minister James Marape and Philippine Ambassador to PNG Bienvenido Tejano witnessed the signing. PNG imports an estimated 400,000 metric tons of rice every year from Australia, Thailand, and Vietnam. Marape, however, said there is a niche market for good eating quality rice in the country. Under the agreement, the Central Province government, through its Economic Enterprise Office, would import the Mindanao rice to be distributed in the province and other areas of the country, according to Minda. Rice prices in PNG range from 3.50 kina to 5 kina per kilo. The conversion rate of kina to peso is 14 pesos. Premium rice, however, commands a higher price in PNG. Governor Agarobe and East Sepik Governor Alan Bird, who are among the ardent supporters of the agricultural engagement between PNG and the Philippines, assured that PNG rice consumers are willing to pay a premium rice for good eating quality rice. The export of Mindanao's premium rice to PNG would also assure Mindanao rice farmers of a fair price for their produce, according to Minda. It added the Philippine engagement with the PNG started in December 2017 after a meeting between President Duterte and then PNG Prime Minister Peter O'Neill in Da Nang, Vietnam. In that meeting, Minda said Duterte instructed then Agriculture Secretary Emmanuel Piñol to forge an agriculture cooperation agreement with PNG, which was signed in 2018. The Philippines assisted the PNG through the private sector in establishing a rice demo farm in PNG. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Maricar Velasco and I am one with 25.
Ogatsu, Ishinomaki City, Miyagi. Harvesting wakame